If you've been hanging with me lately, then you know I am madly obsessed and passionate about my brand new garden. So this is the first official garden I have ever done. And like most things, I jumped in head first. I did not research. I did not do anything like that. I just knew that I wanted to grow things that I could eat, and the thought process stopped there. So I got some birdie beds that were just, you know, the vibe, and I got seed packets and I filled the beds and planted the seeds and did all the things, and here we are. So today I want to share with you some of the mistakes that I have made, and you know, even early on in my journey, you know, here I am, I think about 2 months, maybe 6 weeks into my journey, and I can clearly see some of the things that I have done wrong, and this may cost me, but it is a learning experience. So let me share some of those things with you now. So right here, I am standing next to the bed that has the tomatoes, the onions, the carrots, and the marigolds. This bed is not an issue, so to speak, except that it is. And the only reason that it is an issue is because it is directly beneath this gigantic oak tree that we have. So pre-gardening era, I didn't pay attention to the pattern of the sun. I didn't pay attention to what was in the shade and what was not. I just placed beds and I filled them, and I was like, oh, the backyard is south facing, we're solid. Not so much, you know, not so much. So what I did not consider before laying my beds down is that this tomato bed is directly beneath, like, part of the overcast of our oak tree. So that means she is in the shade for a good part of the day. So she gets about 5 hours of sun, and the rest of the day she is in shade. Tomatoes need a lot of sun. They need like 8+ hours of sun. So I think these tomato plants are going to continue to grow because they have been growing, and I think I will get tomatoes, or at least I'm crossing my fingers, but I don't know that it's going to be a plentiful harvest because there is not a lot of sun. The other thing I didn't consider when laying out the beds is where exactly our sprinklers hit. So we have an irrigation system, and I know that our backyard gets watered and our front yard gets watered, but I didn't realize like where exactly these sprinklers are shooting off to. So these tomatoes are definitely getting hit by the sprinklers. And the other thing I know about tomatoes, and I learned this last year when I made my first initial attempt, I dipped my toe into the gardening world, is that tomato plants do not like to be wet. You're supposed to water them from the bottom, like right where the soil meets the stem. That is not happening. My hope and prayer is that there is plenty of airflow around them. They are getting a lot of sun in the first half of the day, and I hope that the leaves and everything is being dried out by the heat and the sun and all the things, and that it's not going to be an issue. My other hope and prayer is that the marigolds are going to keep all of the tomatoes safe and we're going to be okay, and also that I've created another little barricade with the onions. Now, the onions are not growing the way I had hoped. I think of the entire row of onion seeds that I laid, only like 3 or 4 have come up, so that's a little depressing. But you know, we are where we are. So this first bed, you know, some mistakes were definitely made. Next time around, I will put the tomatoes somewhere else, definitely in full sun, and I can reserve this bed for things like greens, because greens can definitely tolerate the shade a lot more than tomatoes. Next up on my list is our original beds, our OG birdie beds. These are the first 2 beds that we put together and we filled with soil and put our beautiful seeds in. I would say one of my biggest mistakes here was not quite knowing how to companion plant and how to layer my plants. So in these beds, I have things like herbs, I have lettuces, and I would definitely do that differently. So while I wouldn't take those out of these beds necessarily, I wouldn't give them their own little section. I would put the herbs around the borders along with the nasturtiums that I put there to help deter the pests. I would also then maybe make the next layer the lettuces and put the lettuces inside of that. And then inside of that, maybe I would have done the zucchini and the kale and things like that. The carrots, another thing. So I would definitely do this differently. The setup would be different. I wouldn't just have like a little section for lettuce, a little section for cilantro, a little section for dill. Like I would definitely lay this out differently and work on maximizing my space even more, because these beds are not huge. And even if they were, every little bit of real estate is super precious. The other thing that I want to talk about is fertilizing. So we are now like 6+ weeks into my gardening journey and I haven't fertilized at all. So this occurred to me recently because I was looking at all the plants and I'm like, man, some of these guys are growing well, but the ones in these 2 beds, like these first 2 beds, not really making any moves. The zucchini has been the only thing to really put some growth on, but even that seems like it's stagnant. And so I've just been thinking about it and I'm like, wait a minute, how often should I be fertilizing? What should I fertilize with? Like, what do I need to feed these guys? And so it is time. So one of the things I'm going to tackle now is getting on a set schedule and really just watching for signs, looking at the leaves. And of course, I don't want these guys to be in distress and to let that be my sign. I want to address it beforehand. But right now I do see that there's some yellowing in the leaves and these guys are not growing. And so, you know, right now I'm going to try to save them and do what I can. And it's just going to be my best effort because I don't know if that is truly going to save them. So fingers crossed. So another area of concern for me is the zucchinis. So I keep seeing them with these beautiful yellow flowers at the top, and then suddenly the flower is in the flower bed, in the raised garden bed, and it is concerning. So I'm like, what is happening? Is the squirrels, are they supposed to fall off? I feel like, I am sorry, there are a lot of mosquitoes out here. Are they supposed to fall off? Is this, I don't feel like that's what's supposed to happen. I feel like that flower is then like, that's where the zucchini grows from. So am I gonna get zucchini this year? I don't know. If it's squirrels, I need to figure out a solution for that. And so that is something that I'm encountering for the first time as a first-time gardener, is pests and predators that are coming after my plants. So it's not just about my beautiful, gorgeous black lab anymore. It is about these other predators. So I need to figure out what to do. And I don't know if that's to cage these guys, to put some kind of chicken wire around them so squirrels can't get to them. Maybe it's not squirrels, maybe they're just falling off. These like flowers are falling off. I don't know, but you know, here we are. The next thing I want to talk about is planting way too many seeds. So I don't mean the variety of seeds that I have planted. I mean planting way too many of one kind in one area. So I did this 2 times that I can see, well, maybe more than that, but I did it with the carrots in the tomato bed and I did it with the basil in the melon bed. So what happens with laying too many seeds is that as these guys start to grow, they are competing for the same area and they end up being small or lanky. They're just not getting everything they need. They don't have the space to spread out, so to speak. So now I have the glorious task of going through and thinning everyone out, and that hurts my soul more than I can tell you. But if I want these guys to have a chance, any chance at all, of growing and flourishing and being beautiful and all the things, then it's something that I'm going to have to do. My next mistake, seedlings. So having these little trays and starting seeds in these trays, while I know why I did it because I wanted to get these guys started. I didn't have a place to put these seeds necessarily, so I thought that would be genius, and it did not work out for me. I have a lot of failure in these trays, far more failure than I do success. The thing that did the best, the absolute best, is the marigold seeds. After that, I would say the cherry tomatoes, and after that, the Roma tomatoes. But the Roma tomatoes come in really far down the list, and then it's everything else. So there are trays that didn't produce at all. There are trays that maybe had 1 cell of growth or 2 cells of growth, and you know, we are where we are. So because I'm in a hot climate, it gets warm here, it stays warm most of the year. I don't necessarily have to get things started indoors. Our soil doesn't freeze like it does in other parts of the country, or it doesn't freeze for long. We have cold snaps that last like a few days at most, and that's it. We don't have a true winter. So next time around, I don't know that I would use trays unless I fully intend to grow, like have the life of that plant stay in a tray. And I have heavily considered that for things like cilantro, where I want to grow a lot of it and have an abundance that I can pick from and harvest from on a very regular basis, like daily. But aside from that, I don't know if I will go the tray route again. Time will tell. But as of right now, it hurts my soul. I feel like I've given these guys all the light and all the water and all the things that they need, but who knows? So all that said, I am still loving this process so much. I am enjoying the crap out of it. I still love watching these guys grow or not grow, as it were, and just learning everything that I possibly can. I am watching all of these gardening channels and videos like it is my job, because I almost feel like it is. But I really just want to be so respectful of Mother Nature and give these guys everything I possibly can, do my part so that they grow and flourish and do all the beautiful things. So I hope that in a couple of weeks I will be able to show you some great progress and say that like the fertilizer worked and, you know, a set watering schedule or whatever. I don't know. We're gonna figure things out. It's gonna be fine. But I do know that I'm gonna walk away from all of this having learned a lot. I'm gonna know so much more than I knew before. And next time around, whether that's next spring or when we get ready for fall or whatever it is, I am going to have so much more knowledge under my belt and be able to make far better decisions. So with that, if you have any lovely tips, tricks, hacks for helping me and my beautiful garden to grow, I would always love and appreciate that. You can always comment down below. If there are any specific videos that you want to see, just let me know. If you want to share your beautiful gardening pictures with me and how your spring garden is coming along, you are always welcome to send those as well. You can email me, you can send them on Instagram. All of that stuff is linked below. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, because all of that really supports my channel and it means the world to me. Mwah.